62% homes are selling below asking price right now. And a lot of people, when they hear about this news, they say the housing market is crashing. But here's the surprising part. In fact, before 2020, around 60% of homes were also selling below asking price. So the real question is this, are home prices actually crashing, or is the market simply going back to normal? This week, we want to break down what's really happening in the entire US, in Phoenix, and in Chandler housing market, because the headlines online can be very misleading right now. We are going to talk about why selling below asking price is actually not really bad, why Phoenix today usually looks more like a healthy pre-2020 market, and last, why Chandler is still performing stronger than many other cities in Arizona. Because the truth is this, there is no single Arizona housing market anymore. Different cities are behaving very differently. With that, let's jump right in. So right now in front of you is the chart to show you the data, a statistic from Realtor.com. According to this chart, 30% of the people who are interviewed, who are the seller, right, thinking that they are getting more than what they are asking. 46.4% of the people who are asked answering that they will get the asking price at the price that they list their home on the market. 11.9% of the people who are interviewed say I will get less than asking price, and the rest, 4.7%, say I don't know. So according to this, around 80% of the people, around 80% of the home seller still believe that they can sell their home at or above asking price. Now that's very important, because if the seller truly believed that the market was crashing, right, they would behavior like they would panic, they would cut prices strong very fast, right, and they rush to sell because they are afraid that the price will drop even further. But this is not what we are seeing, right? Most of the sellers still believe that the home prices are going up, the buyer demand still exists, and the market still remains relatively strong. And that's the reason that's reflecting in 80% of the sellers still believe that they can get the seller price, the asking price, and or even higher than asking. Now, does that mean every home gonna sell instantly? No. Does that mean every home gonna get multiple offers? Of course not. But it does tell us something important. The seller confidence in the housing remains very strong across the US. And confidence matters because it will affect the pricing behavior, the inventory levels, right? Because if they don't, if they are not feeling confident about the market, they will put the house very rush for sale on the market, and therefore you're gonna have much more supply on the market, right? It will also impact the negotiation power and overall market direction. This becomes especially important here in Arizona because every city behaves differently in Arizona nowadays. So talking about price, let's look at a statistic, a survey about price. So this chart right here, also a survey by Realtor.com, it shows that as of 2025, there are 62% of homes that sold in 2025 below asking price. That sounds very scary because 62% is actually above average, right? But here's the thing, if we look at 2020, before 2020, we're gonna have 2018 at 62%, 2019 at 64%. So while a lot of people worry about this 62% number, especially if we're looking like 2021, 38%, 2022, 42%, 2023, 54%, 2024, 58%, and 2025, 62%. So it's increasing, right? But if we look at before 2020, we actually see same number, 62 and 64. That means today's market actually looks very similar to a normal pre-pandemic market. The truly abnormal years is actually 2021 and 22, right? When a lot of people interested in buying a house because the mortgage rate is low, the inventory was very tight as well, and the buyers were competing to get the house aggressively. In fact, in 2021, only 38% of homes sold below asking price. That's what actually I call an unusual market. Today's market is much more balanced and it's a historical normal, right? 62 is high, yes, but it's matching with the historical data at 62 and 64%. Now, here's two things that I draw from this conclusion. Number one, yes, 62 is a high percentage of homes that sold less than asking, but this is completely normal. But number two, even in an extreme market, as you see here in 2021, where almost everyone competing to get real house, there is a percentage of home that still sold below asking. So expecting a 0% homes sold below asking is unrealistic, period, right? Because even in a hot market like 2021, there's still 38% of homes sold below asking. Because here's the thing, asking is a number that there's no rule, there's no regulation to stop you from giving that number. So right now, a house, let's say if a house valued at 400, and if the seller wants, they can start doing 700 or 800 if they want. There's no thing say that they cannot, right? So they can say that, but then eventually they cannot sell at 700 or 800, and therefore they're going to drop the price. And those are the people who are at 38%, right? So regardless of market, even in hot market or even in normal market, there is still a percentage of homes that sold below asking. And that is actually 38% is an unusual market. Today, like I said, is much more of a balance and a normal market. And this is something people may misunderstand. Selling below asking does not automatically mean that the seller losing money. Many homes are intentionally, like I said, listed slightly higher to leave room for negotiation. So even if a home sells below asking price, it can still be a strong outcome for the seller. And this is especially important because when you say a big headline about 62%, you forget that is actually a international, a whole USA market, right? The more important is the market of the local market, because real estate nowadays is a local market, local data. So we are going to look at the data for Phoenix and the Chandler, Arizona next in the next couple slides. But before we say that, I just want to say I do have the buyer webinar completely free for first-time home buyer, especially for immigration first-time home buyer. Just like me, I want to show you the process from A to Z on how to get the house, how to get the down payment, how to get the loan approval, how to prepare for getting the right house, how to make an offer, how to do the contract and everything from A to Z in this 1-hour buyer webinar. So completely free. You simply scan the QR code on the screen, top left corner, doesn't matter. As long as you scan, right, you will get access to that. All right, now let's look at the Phoenix data. So this chart is a little bit different than the previous chart, in which this chart is actually show the percentage of above asking price. And as of right now, Phoenix is about 15.4% homes that are selling above asking price. That means most of the homes are selling at asking or below asking. All right, and that's already triggered the problem, because they say 85% selling below asking, because you only hear below asking, but you didn't hear it also including at asking. Unfortunately, we don't have the data to show the difference between the two yet. But the number that we want to focus on is 15%. And maybe people think, oh, 15% is, why is it so low, right? But because when you compare to 2021 and 2022, you see about 60% of homes that are selling above asking price. But this is only 15%. But here's the thing, for many years before the pandemic, right? 10%, 15%, 20% of homes selling above asking. This is actually Again, these are the period, the 15 to 20% is completely normal in the Phoenix market. The buyers in this market today is more carefully, they negotiate more and they take more time to make the decision, not as much rush into making the decision as much as 2021 and 2022. And they do that for a reason, right? Because they have the benefit of getting the house at a very, very low interest rate. And that the reason, the main reason why they're willing to pay more. Not so much right now anymore. They care more about the price, and they care more about the option that they actually get. And that's the reason why it's back to the normal market, 15.4%. What about Chandler? Here's a similar chart to Phoenix, right? Chandler is a little bit higher at 17.9% of homes are still selling above asking price. This number is obviously higher than 15.4% in Phoenix, right? So that difference actually matters. It tells us actually Chandler continues to show a stronger pricing behavior than many other surrounding areas. And this is why I always say there's no single Phoenix housing market. Every single city behaves differently. Chandler, Gilbert, Buckeye, Maricopa City, Surprise, they all differently depend on the location, right? So Chandler continue, the reason why Chandler is so strong because it has the good school system. They have a strong family demand into the area because of job. They have a lot of employers like Intel, like ASU, like Google. They investing in Chandler market, right? And then a lot of convenience in the Chandler area. So while today is no longer the crazy fancy market from 2021, right? The well-priced home in desirable Chandler neighborhood are still performing very well. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching today's episode. So the biggest takeaway from this week is that selling below asking price does not automatically means the housing market is crashing. In many ways, today's market actually looks much like a normal pre-pandemic market. And more importantly, different cities like Maricopa County are behaving very differently. That's why local market knowledge matters so much right now. If you buying a house in Chandler, it's completely different than buying a house in Maricopa County, Maricopa City, or Buckeye, right? Or Santan Valley. So if you want to learn more about buying strategy, how to avoid overpay, and how to buy when you are the first generation immigration in the US, make sure that you sign up for the Wire webinar, and I will see you there. Thank you and have a great day.